Salutations, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. I wanted to answer a question that I get on more than one occasion, which is how, Phil, do you solo with Dominators? Some people really kind of struggle with this, and I want to talk about that today because I think it's an excellent question because at first blush, Dominators do not seem like the most solo friendly characters in the world, and I certainly wouldn't argue that they are. If I'm going to recommend a character for a new player to enjoy soloing with, I'm going to go for something like a Brute or Sentinel, but a Mastermind. But I do enjoy soloing Dominators much more than controllers. You can solo certain controller builds. Let me give some parameters what I mean when I say you can solo. First of all, for me personally, when I'm talking about the soloing experience, I'm talking about leveling that character up. I usually will take the characters from starting around 15 all the way up through 50 through Ouro Flashbacks. Now, 1 through 15, I might sit with some friends, get them leveled up, especially with Dominators and Controllers. They start off kind of slow, so you don't want to... If you can avoid soloing those lower levels, that's ideal. You can do it, mostly because there are the start vendor powers that help make that a little bit more viable. But I usually get somehow 1 through 15 with either groups or using a farm. I have farm characters just to get them 1 through 15. Once I get to 15 on, I'm playing them usually solo or in small groups through Ouroboros Flashbacks. I only use SOs up through 25 or so, and then I use IOs after that with no set bonuses, where I'm using inventions, just pure straight up crafted IOs. So you're not going to find me using procs or anything complicated, anything too expensive. This is something any player should be able to do. Another thing is I consider solo play for just +0 times 1, right? My characters in the low levels in particular, or the leveling process, aren't designed to take on +4 times 8 or anything like that. So that's, so if your idea of like, well, I can't solo because I do +3 all the time with my other characters and it doesn't work on the Dominator, I'm probably the wrong person to talk to about that. But I want to play the game the way the designers intended. And so for that, I do that with Dominators, and I get along pretty well. I do struggle against elite bosses, and that might be a little separate conversation, but there's not too many of those. Those are your super villains, and whatever, but we'll talk about that in a second, or down the road. But anyways, you can see I got a number of characters here that I have leveled. I have not actually done this one yet, and that's a weird outfit. I don't know if I'm sticking with that, and I just created this one recently, and again, I'll probably change everything about these characters here. These are placeholders, so ignore those. But I got 4 active characters that I currently play that are Dominators, including one that I've gotten all the way to 50, my Psychic Mastermind Stardust here. So I'm going to show a couple off here, and I'm going to use my lower level ones. So I'm not doing anything too powerful, and I'll even show you their builds and stuff. We're going to use the Polite Punisher and Cinder Flare. We have a villain and a hero. We'll go ahead and start with Cinder Flare. This is the new Pyrotechnic control power set. And if we take a look at my powers here, you're going to see I've got Pyrotechnic control and Fiery Assault. You want to make sure that you are picking up enough of your assault power so that you can pump out some decent damage. So make sure you're grabbing those guys. With that being said, I love lots of control powers. And you can see I've got, and these are just normal IOs, no big, huge bonuses there. They got fancy pictures from a plugin, but these are, for the most part, IOs and SOs. I do have this new Catherine wheel that I picked up that I need to buy a recharge for, but I'll do that later. And then I have some Fiery Assault powers here. I got a couple of spots in Fly, so I can fly around quickly, and a little bit of extra stamina, enhancement here to keep my stamina coming in pretty decent. And that's it. Nothing super rocket science about this build setup at all. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and jump into, it looks like I'm actually in a mission already, so I'll just go back and continue that and select this next task back in Fault Line and just take the character through a mission and show you how this works, right? I'll go to Fault Line. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back, and we're in a mission now. Now, as far as my setup here, I like to put my control powers at the bottom and then my assault powers above that, because I'm primarily focused first on controlling the mobs before I do anything else. When I'm fighting single mob, I usually use the single targets, get them kind of under control, and then just kind of alternate between the control powers and the damaging powers to take down this lieutenant here pretty effectively here without hopefully too much issue. Now you notice I do not have Dominate up yet, okay? So one person mentioned, man, I feel like I'm not doing much if I'm not dominating. The Dominate is very helpful. It is very useful, but you don't necessarily need it to get through packs. I did take a little of extra damage there at the end. She got a few extra hits on me, but notice I wasn't using my biggest powers either, so I don't like to blow too much on the boss or on a single character, even if it's a little bit a lieutenant or something like that, just in case I get sidetracked. But we'll give him a nice, pretty glowy thing. Now this is the Pyrotechnic controller or Dominator, and you've really got some really fun powers to kind of keep these guys occupied and the such. And we'll give him a little fire up close from the fire set here to put him on fire. Wow, we keep popping them up and let that wear its way out. As you can tell, can handle those minions no problem. And they go down a decent clip. Not as fast as a blaster, of course, or a scrapper, but good enough for me to feel like I'm still having fun. I'll go ahead and put some flares in there and dazzle this poor guy. Now, I will say on my psychic Dominator, what I really love doing is confusing them, because then they all turn on each other and they beat the crap out of each other for me, which is always super fun. We enjoy that. I gotta love these offices where you don't really 100% know where to go next, and especially if you're recording here. So we're gonna go to the other side of the office here. I should have got reveal. Oh, hello, bad guys. I should have got reveal, and I forgot to grab that. That helps you to get through these things. But, you know, it's really just when there's groups of them, we have AoEs. We have AoE controls to deal with that, to help out a lot with that. And you can get those pretty early in your 20s, 15 sometimes. It's not usually too hard to have AoE controls. And if they can't hit you back, you can take your time beating them up like that. Not a big deal. And you can see on the assault side of things, on Fiery Assault, I only have one kind of AoE, and that's the Cone Breath at the moment, because I'm only like level 25. I'm not sure, to be honest, I haven't played this character through all the levels yet, so I'm not sure what kind of AoE damage they get later on. So hopefully it's something fun. We'll go ahead and give these guys a little extra fireworks to keep them up in the air. It's a really fun power set. As you can see, there's lots of sparkly colors and sounds, and hopefully the speakers are picking up on the fireworks. I'll turn that up a titch. Hopefully it doesn't drown out my voice. But notice again, I keep the control powers on the bottom, because keeping them controlled is a little more important than killing them quickly. And don't get me wrong, if they're dead, they can't do anything. But keeping them shut down so they're not hitting you with your very low armor values is extremely important. This character will die very quickly with any sort of resistance. A wet paper towel's worth of resistance will kill this character, so we'll go ahead and find some other things to kill here. Oh, see, now we got some nice juicy size groups here. These are perfect for our things like our, well, we'll use our Catherine wheel here, which is a cool pet. I was totally surprised when I found out that Fireworks has a pet. This thing will follow you around and will do extra damage to anything that is knocked up into the air by your fireworks, which now we're getting more people in here, so looks like I've aggroed a little bit more than maybe I should have. So we'll go ahead and keep them entertained with a glittering column. What that column does is it basically provokes them to attack the column instead of me, and I think it has a chance to pop them up. But, you know, again, not as fast as your pure DPS classes and stuff. But you can see here I'm kind of carving through them. Now, I am running into a little bit of endurance issue. Not unusual on low-level characters for me to run out of endurance during prolonged fights. But I don't think I want to blow an endurance on him, because he's going to die right there. Oh, there's more guys over there. I'm going to let the pet keep them company while I get my endurance back. Go, mighty pet. How much health does Sunshine have? Oh, not that much. We're going to help our pet out here now. Little explosive bouquet. Sorry about that, pet. Sorry you had to tank. Now, when do you want to use your domination power? So domination lasts for quite a while, but then it goes on a cooldown. It takes a while to charge back up. If you suspect that you're going to be fighting a boss, I would hold on till you fight that boss, because as you can see here, I'm handling clumps of enemies without using domination, so I don't really need it. But if you're completely out of endurance and you don't have any endurance inspirations, it can also be a great time to use it, because it will completely refill your endurance when you do. And for those who don't know, domination dramatically increases the effectiveness of your control powers. It dramatically increases their duration, which will hold those bad guys for you longer, which is always nice. Now there's an enemy leader at the end of this, so we're going to save the domination for him if possible. But if I use it before then, I don't feel too bad. I do have other... Oh, hello, boss. Elite boss. Oh no, this is exactly what I was talking to you guys about. Elite boss, I didn't realize, boy oh boy, you know, you do things on YouTube and you don't know what's going to happen. Anyways, we got an elite boss there, so we're going to be really careful about this. They are a little tougher to control. Thankfully, we saved their domination power, and that's going to provide some support. We got our pet up, that's very helpful, and we have plenty of inspirations. Do not hesitate to use your inspirations against these guys, because they are a little bit on the brutal side here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop some of these guys. I'm going to go ahead and pop domination, and we're going to get to work. We're going to just throw all the big things at them, because these things will get you very quickly. Do not play around with bosses. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Use your big control powers on them, and do not hesitate. And I'll be darned if he hasn't already broken the control, because that's what they do. But that's okay. We got plenty of control powers where that came from. As you can see here, I've got most of my control powers on cooldown. We had to blow them all. And we're going to go ahead and pop an endurance thing there, because doing all that sucks the endurance. And the inspirations, the defense inspirations, are going to run out of here shortly, so really need to do everything I can to try to put this guy down. And there we go. The elite boss taken out. Took some work there. It was a little sweaty there, but you got to see me take down elite, which honestly is the hardest part, I think, of playing the class. So that is the Pyro. And the Pyro, again, a lot of fun. You're seeing them pop up in the air a lot. Lots of pretty colors. Dominations going on everywhere. It just tends to be a lot of fun. Is there a downside to it? You just got to be very aware of your surroundings. If something comes up and attacks me from behind while I'm focused on this group, I'm probably going to die very quickly. Be aware of your surroundings is the most important part. As long as you can plan the battles ahead, as long as you can see them in front of you, if you're playing solo at +0 × 1, which is the default settings, you should have no problem soloing up through 50. Now, it does get a little bit harder when you get into the 40s. I'm not going to lie. The game seems to be a little more balanced around you having set bonuses as you're getting up there. So, you know, if you're struggling a bit, you might want to consider getting into your set bonuses early and planning your character out in mids so you know what you need. Personally, I do that at 50, and I'm very careful around elite bosses. I'll bring a lot of inspirations for elite bosses, but I won't behoove you if you find some good set bonuses or some good procs to help you through the terrible 40s. Once you hit 50, it's pretty easy. You get full sets, you get your character kited out, and you start working on your alpha, and all those are huge helps to being able to solo, you know, most of this stuff. So, all right, let's flip over to another character, shall we? I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. I am back here with the Polite Punisher, one of my favorite characters. This was another new power set they introduced last year, I believe it was, in City of Heroes, which is the Arsenal Control, I believe. Or maybe it was Arsenal, sorry, maybe it was both, I don't remember. But Arsenal something. So I decided to make a Dominator using this. And this is a completely different type of Dominator, because it's well, maybe not completely different. I guess Trick Arrow probably comes to mind, but it's more of a tricky, devicey type of flavoring to it. And the different powers are all over the board, whereas like Psychic Domination is very focused on psychic type of abilities. Here you've got everything for Liquid Nitrogen, the cloaking device, and everything else. And as we take a look at my enhancements, I think we just got SOs in all of these at the moment, so nothing too special. They're about my level, so we're just kind of getting the usual stuff out of them and what not. And I just remembered I have a cloaking device, so there's my cloaking device. Let me make sure I kind of keep that on. When you got it, it's nice because you don't aggro things if you accidentally run into them. So very similar to the other character, I've got my control towers down at the bottom. I've got my strikes at the top. Now this one has a couple of melee strikes. I'm never a huge fan of melee strikes in things that I usually like to play ranged, but they are very effective here, so you will definitely see me use them. I may eventually respec out of them, we'll see, but at higher levels it's easier to kind of respec out that stuff. But we'll go ahead and hit them with a sleep grenade and put some of these guys to sleep and start shooting things. And this guy is pretty excited to be here. So again, controlling these guys is usually the priority rather than killing them right away, though like I said, that melee attack though is very effective at taking out normal minions pretty fast. Just run up there and give them a little hit. This guy's nice and asleep from the sleeping gas. Go ahead and pop them. I believe sleep was recently buffed so that it doesn't break quite as easy as before. It used to be sleep was pretty darn useless, unless you just really needed to keep a couple of mobs out of the fight, but you weren't going to touch them at all because anything could wake them up. I think nowadays it's a little bit more useful, so you don't usually have that problem. And I just remember that stealth is a bit of an endurance drain. I gotta get some slots in there for endurance reduction. But we'll continue to mosey on along and see if I can get myself into some more trouble and find myself a little guy over here. So you got a single dude up here. Just use your single targets to try to debilitate them. Again, that's usually more important than debilitate them first and then beat them up if you can. Because if you're getting into head-to-head with mobs as a Dominator, you might survive, but it's going to be rough, and you're probably going to take unnecessary damage. Now get more of these guys. Can have a smoke canister, which I think lowers their to hit. Confuses them too, which is really hilarious. You'll see them beating, the crap out of each other. And he keeps falling in the ice. The ice, anything with ice in it is always an instant win in my books, where people just keep tripping up. We'll shoot him with the shotgun in the gut, and then hit him with the butt. So there you go. Very easy to take out these guys, no problem at all. We're just systemically taking them out. It's really great. Let's see if we can find some more guys to pick on here. We got to defeat the gang leaders and their pals and whoever else we can find here. And so the Polite Punisher, the idea comes from the fact we have Punisher, right? And Punisher is an angel of vengeance, so to speak, right? He goes and he believes in just killing the criminals, because if they're dead, they can't continue to commit crimes and all that other fun jazz. So it's but he's often very rude and crass. He doesn't need to be, right? I mean, there's a duty that needs to be done. I get that, but he doesn't need to be so rude about it. And here's me trying to get on top of a little thing right here so I can beat this guy up. But he doesn't need to be really rude about it. The Polite Punisher does what he needs to do, but always has class. Is always pretty careful about it. So he always says please and thank you before he beats up a bad guy. Now these lieutenants can be a bit damage spongy, so he's going to be a little bit more to take down here. I think somewhere have like the Sands of Mu. Just beat him up like that. Yeah, that was our leader right there. And really that mission was that easy. And that's all there is to it. You kind of see me do those. I could have bumped that up to ×2 and I probably would have been fine, right? Not a lot of reason to do that because I don't have a lot of great AoE damage. So it's not like I'm going to kill a lot faster if they're more concentrated. You could bump up their level maybe to a +1 and get a little bit more experience. But at the same token, you're going to kill things slower because they're damage spongy. So I just pretty much leave it on +0 ×1. And I get through my missions, I get through my Ouroboroses, and I have no problem doing that. My little guy's a little invisible there, but we'll try to make him visible. I'm going to take a look at my dapper gentleman here. the Polite Punisher. But what do you guys think? That's, again, that one is Arsenal Control, Arsenal Assault. These guys are only in their 20s, right? I don't have the cool tri-cannon yet from Arsenal Control in this one. I'm looking forward to getting that. And the targeting drone is a nice little pet to have running around with you. Sniper rifle, really good for taking things out from a distance. Trip mine sounds like fun too. But there's a lot of fun things in the Arsenal power set there. But what do you guys think? Do you solo Dominators? Do you find them fun? Do you have some challenges? Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do like a more in-depth video, if you want to see me go through an entire flashback on a video, whatever it is, let me know, guys, and I will do my best to accommodate. But until next time, have some happy adventures here in State of Heroes, and God bless you.